developers. I am Andrea, a full stack instructor at Integrify. I have been teaching quite a long time here at the academy. React are getting popular right now, and a lot of companies they are looking for developer with that skill. I will be making some video with React. If you are interested, please make sure to subscribe our YouTube channel for more similar contents. See you!
Okay, so hello developer. Today we will talk about custom hook in React. Okay, so you already knew that in React we have some built-in hook, right? We have useFetch, we have useState, and even useParallel. So in some cases, we need to have a hook that serves a specific purpose for us. So that is what we're gonna do today with the custom hook. Okay, so let's see the situation we have right now. Right now, I am in the app.js component. I am renders the product list with the homepage, and the second one, I render the product detail. So the purpose of product detail is I want to fetch the data from the URL, which is firststoreapi.com/product/1. And the second one, the product list components. I also want to fetch the data from the firststoreapi.com/product, right? So the normal way we will do is we need to use neither SEO or fetch in order to get data from this URL, right? And in that case, we need to repeat the same code in both product list and product detail. And that is not a good practice in React. Okay, so now I have the custom hook folder, and inside of that, I have one folder named useFetch, usefetch.data.js. Okay, so I have one custom hook, and in this case, that's gonna be useFetch.data.js. So the rules, if you want to use the custom hook in React, the name of the file is have to have the keyword use. And then after that, you can provide the name of the hook. It's up to you. And in this case, I want to create a hook that get the data for me. So I'm gonna name it to useFetch data. Okay, so what is the custom hook, right? I knew that the purpose of custom hook is gonna help me to get the data from the different URLs in this case, right? So behind the scene, custom hook is also a function. It's similar to the built-in hook we knew before. So it's also a function. Okay, and from the rules, it have to start with the keyword use, right? And in this case, I am named to useFetch data. Okay, so let's write a function first. Functions useFetch data, and then parentheses, and then curly brackets, right? Inside the curly brackets, I need to write the logic to get the data. Right, so for the parameter part, it's when receive one parameters, or in this case, I'm gonna call this URL, right? By passing a different URL. By passing a different URL, I'm gonna receive a different data, right? I'm gonna return, it's gonna return for me a different data. Okay, so in order to getting a data, in order to getting data from a URL, we're gonna need two hooks. The first one is useState in order to manage with the data, right? And the second one is useEffect to manage with the effect, any effects in the functional component. Okay, so let's start with the first one, useState, right? Horns data and set data equal to useState. And for the initial value, I'm going to give it none. In the beginning, I don't have any data yet, right? And useState, I need to import it from React. Okay, import useState from React. Okay, so for conventions, I'm gonna write useEffect as well, because I'm gonna use that later. Okay, so I have the first step to manage the data, right? I also need to have two more. The second one for the loading page, right? Because when we are fetching any data, we're gonna we need to waste a certain amount of times. Maybe that's gonna be a milliseconds or That's gonna be a minute. So right now I'm gonna write is loadings, and then the initial value that's gonna be true, right? And the last ones with the arrow, I don't know why fetching the data is might be some error with the network, right? I need to have a stage to manage the arrow as well. Okay, equal to new stage, and the initial value is also null. Okay, so we done the first one, which is a stage to manage all of the data. The second one is useFetch, right? useFetch. The syntax of useFetch is a callback inside of that, and another one is a dependency, right? So the logic I have inside useFetch is to getting the data, and in this case, I'm going to use fetch. Okay, so const fetch data is going to be an async functions equal to an async. Okay, and then in order to deal with fetching the data, we're going to need try catch, right? So first step, call response equal to fetch, and then the URL, right? The URL, we're gonna get this from line number 6, whatever the user or us gonna pass when we invoke the useFetch data in each component. Okay, so fetch.url, fetch URL, and then the second one comes data is gonna be equal to await response.json. We need to transform it into JSON so we can understand it as well. And since it's async and then await, I need to have the await keyword. Since it's an async function, I need to have the await keyword, and the same thing here as well for await. Okay, so now we got the data from a URL, right? We need to set the data, set the stage, and then passing the value, which is data, right? So that is the first thing. After we are getting the data, we need to change the stage for loading, right? We need to tell Haze that I already got the data. We don't need to wait anymore by calling set is loadings, and I'm gonna change it to false. Set is loading to false. Okay, and in case we have any kind of error, right? We also need to inform set errors, and then I will passing any error is returned for me. And of course, the set is loading, I also need to change it to false. Okay, so we done the first step, the logic to fetch the data, right? And so I have an async await function. The name of the function is fetch data. Okay, so I declare the function. Now I need to invoke the function fetch data. Okay, we almost done for the dependency, right? Because the URL is gonna change according to whatever the user passing. So I'm gonna need to write URL in the dependency part, right? So our function, the useFetch data, it's managed, it's getting the data first, but what would be the return, right? So the return of these functions, I want to return an object. Inside an object that's gonna have two parts. It's gonna have 3 return. The first one is the data. The second one is the loading stage, and the last one is going to be an error. Okay, so that is how we create a custom hook in React. Okay, so the last part, if we want to use this, of course, we need to import this. We need to export it, right? Export default and the name of the functions. Export default useFetch data. Okay. So now we have done with the custom hook. Let's see how it's applied in the components. The first component I want to apply is the product list components. Okay, first thing first, let's import the useFetch data custom hook into the product list component. Okay, so now I have a URL on line number 4. I am calling the fetch data and I'm passing the URL on line number 4. Okay, when I invoke useFetch data and I'm passing URL, which is the vectorapi.com/product, right? It's going to return for me an object, right? Because I am returned here on line number 29, 3 data, loading and error, right? And I return as an object. Okay, so now on line number 7, corns, I am destructuring. So I gonna receive data, loading, and the error. Okay, so now let's check if I have the data or not, right? Console log data, and then I'm giving a name as data. Okay, so let's refresh the page. Okay, so you can see right now in the console part, right, the initial value is none, and then after that, when I got the data, when I'm done fetching the data, I am get data on line number 8 in the console, right? So now the next step is to display on the screen, to display the data on the screen, right? So if is loading is true, if is loading is true, okay, I'm naming it to loading, so here I'm writing if loading is true, then I'm gonna return a div loading. Okay, else I'm gonna return the data, right? And in this case, I am receive an array, so that's why I need to use a map method. And for now, let's just display a title. Okay, so we're gonna return a div, and I want to return the items.title. Item.title. Okay, so you can see right away on the screen we have the title, right? So if you see some kind of warning, each child should have a list, right? So in this case, for the div, I'm gonna provide the key as item.id. And now when I refresh the page, the warning is go away. Okay, so there is how we are applying the custom hook in the component, right? I am called the custom hook, and I can easily using this in the product list component. Okay, so let's use the custom hook in the second component, the useFetch data. Okay, and the logic is exactly the same things. I need to import it. The import useFetch data from the custom hook file, right? And I do exactly the same with what I did before. I will receive data, loadings, and error equal to useFetch data, and I will pass the URL I have on line number 4. Okay, so let's console log again. To see at least we are getting the data. The data here, and I also give it a name so I will know what kind of data I am receiving, right? So right now I am at the home. If I want to see the products detail, I need to go to the product detail, and you can see right away in the console part, right? I am getting the data as an object. Okay, so the same thing. Now I am got the data. Let's display the data on the screen, right? So similarly to the product list component, if loading is true, then I also returns a div loadings, else I'm gonna display the product detail on the screen, right? Right now, let's display the product title, right? And also let's display the price. Okay, so you can see on the screen we have the product title and we have the price here as well, right? So the custom hook is work and it's help me to not repeat the code in the product list component and also in the product detail, right? So let's go through it one more time. What is the custom hook, right? It's also a hook is similar to the hook we have before, and a custom hook is a function. If you want to use custom hook, it has to have the keyword used, and then we will provide the name. It's up to you, right? And you can use the custom hook in any component as you wish, right? One of the other advantages of custom hook is you can test the logics for the custom hook by using unit tests. So what does it mean by that, right? If you are writing separate logics in the product detail components and in the product list component, right, then you need to write the test separately. But if you have the custom hook, then you need to write only one test for the custom hook, or in this case is the useFetch data, and you will make sure both component, product list and the product detail will work. Okay, so that is all about custom hook. And if you want to check more cool stuff in our video, in our YouTube, let's go into the Integrify YouTube, and I will see you next time. Okay.